What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ladies Who Bochinche. I am Julissa.
What's up, everybody? This is Skittles.
And this week, we have literally top five, maybe top three, maybe top two best friends of mine in the world.
You're gonna start some problems. There's some subscribers that are gonna be like, "This is some bullshit."
Danny is one of my
top five. Just so y'all know,
we started this episode and now we're done.
So
that's enough for this week.
So we have Danny joining us. Danny, who the fuck are you?
That is a fantastic question. Hi, everybody. I'm Danny Rodriguez. Danny, to my hometown friends and such. I am a professional ballet dancer.
Yeah.
Born and raised in New York City. The way that I fit into all this craziness is that I'm a LaGuardia 09 graduate. Very proud of it. 09 so fine. Shout out. But I've known y'all for now. I mean, I've Julissa, so we go back to like freshman year. Juan, we didn't get into this till after the fact.
But we did like dance around each other.
Yeah.
Like, we have that random picture at Joyda's Sweet 16 together.
That is the best photo. Shout out to Omar. Laura Brea was in that picture. Tali.
We got to get Talia on Ladies Who Bochinche.
Yeah, we should. We absolutely should. All those people should be on the mic. But yeah, so you're a professional dancer. Tell us more where you're dancing, a bit about your trajectory.
Well, right now I'm with the Dayton Ballet over in Dayton, Ohio. Just a simple standard ballet company. We do mixed rep performances. We do right now this season, I think we're doing 5 programs. We just finished doing Nutcracker because duh. We have a Swan Lake performance in March. And
yes, Black Swan.
Right? We're getting into that.
Swan.
And then pa que tú lo sepas. And then we're going to go into a mixed bill at the end of the season and stuff like that. So yeah,
amazing. And like Danny has been with a couple companies since he started. We like graduated high school. He did the Hunter College thing for a bit and was killing it with a 4.0 and whatever. And then he said, I'm always hating on the fact of how smart Danny has always been. So his grades are always of concern to me.
Hispanic guilt.
Yeah. So killed it at Hunter College for a little bit, and then before he finished, said, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna go take my happy feet elsewhere, and went down to North Carolina first, then to Sarasota Ballet, and now he's in Ohio. There's a lot of white people over there, right? In all 3 places. You've been around a lot of. You've been.
Yes, but North Carolina, like Southern, so there's that mix, and then in Sarasota it was pretty white, and Ohio is a little mixed. The thing is it's a bit. Ohio's around like this big river. I don't know what the hell the river is called because I don't know. I just work there. But if you live on like, the city side or the uptown side, like of course that's where the more like business, that's the more like whiter gentrified area. Then you cross that bridge and that's where my fiance and I live. All of a sudden it gets a little more black, a little more, urban, a little more stuff like that.
So being that you've lived in a bunch of different places in this country, you must have your share of views on brunch.
Yes.
And tasted your share of dishes. What is your go-to brunch plate?
Usually I stick with huevos rancheros. Because I'm Hispanic and it just hits all the things I want, like black beans, guac, sour cream, some pico, eggs, there's some tortilla. It has everything I want. But if not for that, I'm always good for like a good like hash or like a crazy amount of eggs with like potatoes and like some like if I'm gonna brunch, I'm gonna go ham. Like I'm not going there for like. And I usually go savory. I'm not trying to do some sweet stuff. Usually I'm like, I want food. Right. And I'm going to go hard.
Absolutely. I just want to cut in and say that I went to Limon Jungle, not for brunch, like a couple of weeks ago, and was very disappointed in the food.
Really?
The food sucked. And between 2 people, we almost spent $90. We had one meal, one appetizer.
See,
2 rounds of drinks.
I don't go.
Terrible. I'm not doing it again.
I don't go other than brunch.
Yeah.
Like, brunch is really good, and it's that deal. Like,
I mean, I was going to say, I think it tastes so good, maybe because the price is so good that it makes complete sense. And the drinks are good during brunch because they're flowing. Brunch, yeah. But when I had 2 drinks, and the person I was with, 2 drinks and 1 meal each, and then we shared nachos. Can I tell you what the nachos were? They were those big discs, the tortilla discs. There were 2 of those cut in half. So there were 4 pieces with stuff on top of it. That was it. That was the tortillas actually that was the nachos that cost the same as those big ass Supreme nachos that you get at any other place. And I was like, yo, what the fuck does Limon Jungle think they are?
Listen, my only response to that is nobody told your ass to go on non-brunch hours. I've only ever been there during brunch.
Listen,
so
I love how he's getting defensive.
She thought she was in a different tax bracket. She was like, I can come here.
Because I mentioned, I'm too loud. I mentioned Limon like every episode.
Yeah, but I'm not saying all of that to say that Juan is responsible for anything that happened.
Don't come at his place.
I'm just saying.
He's looking for a sponsorship deal. You know how hard.
All right, so with your favorite brunch plates, what do you choose to drink? What is your go-to brunch drink?
This is where y'all find out how trashy I am. So when we usually, so like, me and the fiance, we'll make brunch at home a lot because like I'm not trying to spend all this money. We'll cook, bacon, eggs, hash. We'll do all this crazy stuff. We'll cook it up real good. And then my favorite thing to do, especially if I'm at home, is to have a white trash mimosa.
What's that?
Is that vodka with
no? Oh God, no. No, that's
just a screwdriver.
That's just a screwdriver. No, that's just a screwdriver. No, so it's orange juice and champagne of beers. It's Miller High Life. So you do Miller High Life, and then you can
really
and the thing is
trash.
No, but it sounds and like when I read that shit, because I saw it online once and I was like, fuck out of here, that must be gross or whatever. It actually is nice. It's refreshing.
I've had beer like mimosas
and like on a cool like on a Sunday, like if you're just chilling, you cook yourself all this food, you pour a little High Life, top it off with some OJ, it hits the spot. It's nice. So that's what we do at home usually. We'll do like a white trash mimosa.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean,
fuck with it.
If I'm at a nice restaurant, I'll get like a fancy, whatever cocktail of the hour.
All right. So what was eating out like for you when you were growing up?
Man, my parents didn't take us nowhere. And it wasn't like, not for nothing. Like, it's not like we were broke. I mean, like we weren't balling either, but they just, we never left the house. My mom cooks. That's her temple. That she cooks and she cleans.
And you grew up in a house in the Bronx?
No. I grew up in an apartment on the east side. Okay. So the house, we didn't move into the house until like high school. Like they moved into the house relatively recently. That was later on. But I grew up on the east side. On 90th between Lex and 3rd because my father worked in the building. Okay. So we lived in the basement apartment because he was the superintendent for the whole building. That was his second job. So that's how that worked out. Because everyone's like, oh, that must have been nice. And I'm like, I mean, my dad worked for it. Like, it wasn't like, No, but yeah, like my mom cooked and cleaned for us every night. She was, why are we going out for? Like, no, I got food. What would happen is like if she didn't feel like cooking or if stuff wasn't going down like that, but we'd get Chinese. But my dad would just walk and pick it up and then come back. Like we didn't leave.
My dad too, he would always pick it up. I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers deliver. Why are you going down?
We wouldn't leave, and they was around the corner, so he's like, I'll just get it. But we didn't go out a lot. It wasn't until like I got older and I started hanging out with people and like we started going out to dinner. But like we didn't really. No, we stayed in the house. How dare you?
That really is like a thing. Like for me too, I didn't start going out to dinner until like LaGuardia.
Same.
When it was a thing to go to dinner for birthdays and stuff. Well, how dare we? Like, just step into adulthood. Like, I'm going out. Like,
my mother does not let me live down how much money I spend on food. She literally all the time goes. She would find when I was still living there receipts from restaurants and stuff and be like. Ay, Dios mío, $40 en qué? ¿Y qué fue lo que tú estabas comiendo? Ay, Dios mío, pero con $40 va tú al supermercado y compra
Like to this day, like my parents do not go out, and if they do, they go to freaking Don Coqui and just get more Puerto Rican food.
All right, so what is your favorite bochinche topic to talk about over food?
Are we talking about gossip, right? That's what that is.
Come on, Latino, don't fail me now. Don't you know what bochinche means?
Listen, episode 1, I learned all sorts of shit. I was like, oh, this is what they're saying now? Okay. Fuck, I don't get the memos, man. I'm trying to think. See, but usually, like, so, I don't, well, I want to say I don't gossip, but I do. We all gossip. I don't know. It depends on who I'm with. It depends on the crowd. So like, like like last week I went to brunch at an amazing brunch spot, the Infirmary. Shout out. It's like Southern food on the east side.
I've never been. What is it?
It's mad good. It's expensive. It is pricey. But
I went there,
but it is quality. It is very good.
Because Adiza had texted me that you guys were going there, and I was like, I just do not have
Toro
the money.
made us. Yeah, Toro made us.
I went there for Toro's birthday a couple of years back and dropped $100 real easy.
What? No,
real easy.
I'm not.
But I mean,
I was like, oh, they probably one of those $50.
Well, I mean, spots. I didn't do all that.
I'm not dropping $100.
But the food is
insane. Like it is southern as fuck, and it is very good.
Okay.
But anyway, sorry. So
I'm gonna make note for whenever I find a sugar daddy. When I find a sugar daddy, I'll go.
So it depends on the crowd. So with them, like we're just catching up. We're just like, cause when I'm home in New York, like everyone wants to catch up, and like I'm gone for long stretches of time. So usually everyone's kind of like, "What's with your life?" And I had a tumultuous, to say the least, 2017. So I moved, a lot of stuff went on, a lot of drama, a lot of this, that, the other. There's a wedding that's going on in May. So there's a lot of questions. Loyal listeners know. No, so.
Yeah, we talked about your wedding last week.
Yeah, we did talk about the wedding last week. So by the way, guys, this is Danny. Who's getting ready.
I'm that dude. So yeah, so it depends. And then if I'm with my dancer friends, like just now, I was with my dancer friends, we were talking about ballet or news stories that happened with that, or we're just fucking around. Like I don't know, I don't usually get into anything too heavy. I'm not one of those like
but you do like to bring up things from conversations past.
If it's funny, yeah.
I want you all to know who are listening that there's a lot of looks being shot across this table.
Oh no,
there's some shit that Danny has clearly brought up.
He's tight.
Like he's last 4 years.
He's tight about one joke that is funny to everybody.
But so that's and that's Skittles, he's so you can't hold anything over Skittles' head.
Well, he's trying to be mad, but he's giggling his ass off right now.
Oh man!
Because without fail,
I'm that dude.
I see you
oh yeah, no, I'm that dude. Don't you ever? I still give Jalissa shit about shit she did in high school.
In high school, it is literally.
Don't you ever? I'm that guy.
He's the chamber of secrets, like the gift and the curse of a best friend.
I will remember and call you out.
Oh man. All right, so now we're going to get into our Here's to the Ladies Who, where we shout out and drink to people who are killing it in the game. You know what? For many years, I've known Juan Skittles Ortiz. And for many years, there have been some really basic life things that I'm like, but Skittles, just do this. Just make this decision. And this week, Juan Skittles Ortiz...
I got Wi-Fi.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is now a proud...
What a time to be alive.
I am now a proud payer of Wi-Fi Optimum. Thank you. Now I can edit videos in my own house without having to find Wi-Fi elsewhere.
All your YouTube subscribers are like, wait, this motherfucker didn't have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, if you've ever wondered why my videos come months and months apart, it's because I haven't had Wi-Fi.
I thought you was YouTube rich. What happened?
Right.
Hopefully now there's literally no excuse. Like now I can upload videos.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Fire up them comments, son. Fire up them comments.
Awesome. And another shout out is to Cardi B and Bruno Mars.
Yes, with this Finesse remix. They are killing it. She's killing it. She's killing it. And This video, the video is really cute because it pays homage to In Living Color.
Yep.
And then J-Lo went and posted a video of her dancing as a fly girl. It was like, once a fly girl, always a fly girl. Like, and hashtag finesse.
It's not about you.
Shut up. And apparently, why are you coming for her?
Years, all right. And she's a Bronx Latina, and so is Cardi.
And apparently,
she's allowed to say something.
Apparently, Cardi and J-Lo are gonna do something. Rumor. They're gonna like do a track together. So
I'd like that. All right, next, Mariah.
Oh god.
It was a good performance.
No. It's not about the performance. I'm talking about.
I'm already ready to like.
It wasn't about because to be honest, I didn't really watch, and like I'm not a vocalist. Like I can't come at you. Like I don't know anything. And trust me, I cannot sing at all. I'll give you a show, but damn, I can't sing.
Right.
it's just the ridiculous. Like she always finds a way. Like the tea
but
thing.
that's a part of her brand at this point. Like she has built this persona of being such a diva that is literally. I would have been surprised if she didn't say something about the tea.
I mean, I guess. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, if that's what she wants to do, but for me, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what in the world?
It was a funny and awkward moment in between two really good performances for her, because honestly, she hasn't been performing up to par. Honestly, for years we've been saying that Mariah should just take a vocal coaching job at Berklee College of Music and like maybe train some new people to come up.
Is she doing like a master class or something, or is that a joke?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, but I know that for Mariah, she lowered the keys and she sang it in a comfortable range, and there was some struggle, but for the most part,
she made it through.
It's a good performance. Good for her. Kudos to her. Cheers to her. Also, I have to throw Britney in there because Britney killed it as well. I'm wearing my work bitch hat right now.
I didn't see her, so I don't even know.
Yeah, Britney killed it. But also, cheers to both of them because it was the highest rated New Year's Eve Dick Clark special since 91.
And I feel like a lot of people were just watching to watch people fail. Also, a lot of people were watching because people were inside. It was fucking cold. It was cold.
Also, everyone was trying to watch what Don Lemon would do this year.
Yeah.
And he did not disappoint. Got wasted in New Orleans.
Yep.
Got wasted and was a hot mess.
And the CNN reporter, she was in Colorado on a party bus, and people had the gas mask.
Yeah, they were passing around weed. I know, and she was just stuck. They were like, "We'll go to Colorado now. How are you doing?" And she's just like, "Things are great, Don." We're stuck on a bus. They're all smoking marijuana. Maybe some edibles. I swear I'm not high. I didn't puff.
God.
No, that's not actually what happened. But like, could you imagine?
But low key, that was the tone of the whole.
Like, can you imagine you're trying to report and have your job, but like you're about to get high on national television in front of all these people?
Yeah.
Like,
it was that. Another cheers to the Punisher. The gentleman who plays the role of the Punisher, he called out. I'm gonna keep using the phrase "tiki torch whites" just because Dave Chappelle. And so he called out the tiki torch whites and told them to fuck off because the Punisher in himself and Danny. This
people
is a
are
little
using
bit.
him as a symbol.
Yeah, and Danny knows more about comic book stuff than I do, so maybe you can speak to it more. But like the image of the Punisher is, he's an ex-Marine, I believe.
Marine or Secret Service or like secret agent, whatever you want to put.
Who was apparently was like thought to be dead for a long time, and then they
kill his family.
They kill his family.
They kill his whole family, and so he decides to go become a vigilante, and he just kills people for doing bad things.
And like Batman, he doesn't have special powers. He's just a motherfucker with a vengeance.
He's just super trained and has all of the guns in the world.
So, and in the new series, one of the things that they focus on is this like young guy who's like blowing things up, and so he's a terrorist, and it's all related to politics and stuff like that. In the new series on Netflix,
yeah, I love the new series. If you haven't watched it, as long as you can take some of the violence, because it's a lot, but it's fantastic. But I love that arc because it's beyond the fact that he's a terrorist. He's a vet.
Yeah.
And how that all. Oh well, this is semi-spoilery. Maybe we shouldn't.
Spoiler alert. Skip. Maybe give yourself like a minute and a half. Skip.
Just go watch The Punisher. But that's the thing, like, because what as a person who loves comic books and reads comic books, like the Punisher is a weird character because like he's a character that a lot of people love, but honestly, like he doesn't have a lot of great stories or
his movie sucks.
He doesn't have a lot of comic book like people just love what he stands for, and so like they really follow. But like honestly, he doesn't have. So what I loved about the show was that instead of trying to make just some random show where he just kills all these people and it's super violent and gratuitous, they were like, listen, we want to talk about this guy who's really damaged, who's dealing with a lot of stuff, and then the people around him who are veterans, people who came back home from war, people who don't know how to live a normal life again, people who are really messed up, people who are struggling to adjust and that feel like they're out of place, that they don't belong. And the fact that they did all this stuff, I was like, man, like they're getting into this right now. And they did not shy away from a lot of issues. And it hit me hard watching this. Like some of the scenes, I was like, damn, like this is so sad because this is real. Like you have vets like dealing with this stuff now. And so like I don't understand where the alt-right is trying to come, because like there's nothing about like
they hold on to any motherfucking symbol they want to. They could have Papa John's. So nobody like no Papa John's anyway. They holding on to all sorts of symbols and people. Fuck the alt-right. Fuck the tiki torch whites. But watch The Punisher. It's good shit.
It's a fantastic show.
So now we're gonna go into our Tuta Loca Es, where we call out motherfuckers who are doing the most. Last week we sat here with Gerard and we had a whole conversation about how Dominicans are black. We literally did. And mad of y'all have not listened yet, tune in. And this week I hear, so Amara La Negra, who I didn't even know was on Love and Hip Hop because I don't watch those shows, right? But I know who Amara is because she's had like some hit songs here and there. She's Dominican, right? So I know who Amara is. They're accusing her of blackfacing. So they're accusing this very chocolate, bomb-ass fro Dominican woman. She's gorgeous. She is a black Barbie. You want to talk, no shade to Nicki Minaj, but you want to talk about a black Barbie? No, that's a motherfucking black Barbie.
I feel like I saw a video of her today.
Right.
No, she has like a fro, like the perfect
because the thing is that she was talking to someone about her image. She's like, oh, how could I be elegant? And like basically the dude was trying to avoid.
Oh yeah, on the show. That was a clip from Love and Hip Hop.
That was in the first episode of Love and Hip Hop.
And she was like,
so basically, they're introducing all these new, because Love and Hip Hop Miami is a new segment or section of the Love and Hip Hop franchise. You have Love and Hip Hop New York, Love and Hip Hop LA, and now you have Love and Hip Hop Miami. And they're introducing all these new characters, but their new characters are more so like people who are like have been low-key famous but haven't had like that super exposure. So like Trina is like the main rap girl
for Miami.
And Remy is the main rap girl from New York.
That's
and
right.
I don't
she
know.
The baddest bitch.
I don't know who.
I miss Trina.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like Trina, and then it has like her cousin. Like it's weird. Love and Hip Hop. I pointed this out the other day too. Which is a complete side note to what we're talking about. They've been filling their cast up with female rappers and gay male rappers now. Mm-hmm. So now you have a bunch of like these gay boys that are like,
yeah, they know their audience.
All this like stuff, whatever. Anyway, something that I noticed. But Amara was going to work with this new producer, and he said, can you be more elegant? Can you be more cookie cutter? Mm-hmm. And she was like,
I'm not.
I can't be elegant with an afro. And so that's where that clip went viral.
No, yeah, I saw it this morning.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah,
and she released photos and even footage, like video footage of her being in a pageant when she was younger.
Oh, and she is beautiful.
There was a picture of her with Celia Cruz,
queen, Afro Latinx.
Come on.
You know? And I'm like, yo, fuck all y'all motherfuckers, because obviously the competition.
Azúcar.
We're literally like, no, like, you know, open, you know, I'm gonna throw some azúcar on your wound. You are just mad. Like, we are also black. She's not black facing. Like, is that, have we gotten
I'm wondering if it's like, is it because her skin is so evenly chocolate? Like, or is it because her features aren't necessarily like.
Listen, they might Photoshop a bitch a bit, but she's not black facing.
Yeah. Like,
you know, like, I mean, like she might, her skin might look a little flawless, but that's called Photoshop. That's not called blackface.
And everybody on these show, everybody
on
that
has
show
makeup
looks like
and
that.
Right? Yeah, everybody like.
If you watch an episode of this, it's the most scripted reality show.
And if you were expertly lit every step you freaking made, you'd look incredible too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so fuck that. Latinos are black too. I'm gonna just start wearing a shirt that says that shit. I just need different ways to keep shouting that on the mountaintop. I mean, I say that to say my experience as a darker Latina, right? And I'm not even because I'm not even as dark as Amara. You know what I mean? And so like there are people who are like, oh, you're going Mount hard, but you're not even that black. I'm like, but I'm not white. I'm not even J-Lo's color, so I get that black shade. But both people within their own community don't want to accept that we have black people in our community, and then people who are either African American or white people won't accept us either. And I'm just like, we're all in the same boat. The same way they looked at her fro and told her that it's not elegant, it would be just as terrible if they looked at Beyonce and if Beyonce had a fro, they told her she wasn't elegant. It's wrong because it's an attack on black people. It does not matter that she's a black Dominican. She is a black woman. This is a problem.
Well, and that's like a flawed, oh, well, you're not that black. I'm like, I'm sorry. Hold on. Like, what kind of argument is that? What does that serve? Who's helping? Who's moving forward with that kind of argument? Because I have the opposite problem where I'm a Latino man or whatever, but I look look super
look
white.
like a white boy.
Most people see me and are like, "Oh, hey, Jew, what's up?"
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, I mean, to be honest, it's probably kept me out of a lot of trouble just because people just aren't as people don't assume that I'm Hispanic, and then when they find out they are, they're still more comfortable with me
when
because
that salsa come on and Danny start dancing, they go, "Damn!" They go,
great
"Damn!"
at weddings.
He goes, "That's not training. That's natural, baby.
That's the thing. But that's the thing. But I also can tell that people are more comfortable with me because, again, like even if I am, even after they know, it's still a comfort where they're like, "Oh, but he's still, a light skinned person." But they don't have that same situation.
Yeah.
So it is a strange. It is a strange like identity thing, and it's just like this whole color argument where I'm like light skin, dark skin. I'm like, guys, like, come on now.
Yeah.
It's not helping anything.
All right.
But kudos to VH1 for bringing the conversation to the
That
forefront.
is good, yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Like, Love and Hip Hop is a super, like, trashy type of TV
But, I mean,
show.
it's important in its community, and it's good to have this conversation in that community.
And it's introducing it. You know how many high school and middle schoolers watch
That's
Love and
the
Hip Hop?
thing,
Like,
yeah.
it's introducing it to
a younger
audience. And these kids, like I said last week, they've never heard the term Afro-Latina. So having someone, like, literally stand in front of the camera and be so...
sort of open and forefront about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely is important. All right. So now we're going to venture off into a land that we never venture off into. The ballet world, right? Because Mr. Peter Martin, formerly now of the New York City Ballet.
Yeah, he just resigned. Stuff
Right.
got real. He just
because
resigned.
of misconduct allegations.
Well, okay, so basically what had happened is that, during the purge of Hollywood of 2017 when all that was going on, in which...
The necessary purge.
Oh, no, yes. No, I'm not trying to... No, like, of course. So then, this whole chain starts. It's one of those situations where all this stuff was going on and you had all this stuff in the media where all these people we grew up with, people we're fans of, all this stuff happened where all these people were getting, all of a sudden their laundry was out and you learned who they were.
Began
and
and
obviously...
ended with Bill Cosby for me. That was tragic enough. That was tragic enough for me.
But so yeah, all that stuff was going on where all these people were getting called out and justice was being served. And in the dance world, we have all sorts of stuff like this too. We have aggressive people, their sexual allegations, all sorts of stuff. But we don't ever talk about it because we either assume that nothing's gonna happen, that no one really cares, because in America, dance isn't really, as big as, it's not Hollywood. Hollywood is a big deal in America. So usually, we just kind of stay silent and we just soldier on because that's what we've always done. You just deal. It's part of the job. It's hard enough. Like, you just do your thing. But after all this was going on, somebody stepped forward and spoke to the press and brought physical allegations to Mr. Peter Martins, the longtime director. He's been the director there for like 30 years now.
Wow.
And like, that's the thing. Like, when it came out... Like, it was shocking to the dance world and, people were talking about it. But then at the same time, you have that undercurrent of like, well, like, I mean, we all kind of knew. Like,
Yeah.
And it's a murky situation. Now he has officially resigned, though he still denies the allegations, which is fascinating to me.
That's interesting.
He still, because that's when he took his leave of absence, he said, I'm against these allegations are untrue, blah, blah, blah. I've given my life to this company and the school, but... I'm resigning or I'm taking my leave, and then now he's resigning, but the investigations are still happening, and he's still, which is the thing. I'm like, dude, just bite the bullet, because like you're not stopping this train,
right?
But yeah, I think it was a good moment for the dance world because we kind of looked around and was like, listen, we don't have to deal with this stuff. Like, we can demand to have better treatment and to be treated like human beings and not to have physical harassment and sexual harassment. Because, I mean, like, the allegations are pretty intense. Like, he choked out a dancer, yelled at her. He has allegations, he went to court for assault with his wife, but the charges were dropped, and that was like 10, 15 years ago. Some pretty serious allegations, and they're no longer anonymous. People have stepped forward. People have corroborated the story. So there's a lot going on. But I mean, it's good that, that's New York City Ballet is one of the biggest companies in the world. The fact that got called out is important.
Very.
It's an important conversation, and hopefully, we can keep advancing. And, a lot of messed up stuff happens in the dance world and in this business. So it's hopefully we can kind of learn from this and keep advancing and make sure that the dancers are all right and that, we're doing all right.
Because as artists, like, honestly, like, I feel like and we saw this also in Hollywood with Harvey Weinstein. It's just there's so few slots for people to quote unquote make it that the things that have to be done, it's like either I'm down to do it and this is part of the process, or I'm not down to do it and I'm too proud to do what I quote unquote have to do to get what I want. And I think that the more that we call people out, the more that mentality will sort of hopefully break down. But I'm also afraid of what starts to, and I'm not talking about this case and specifically because fuck Peter. I don't know Peter. You know what I mean? So, but like, I'm starting to worry about people stepping down and us not having the more difficult parts of the conversations about each case that we talk about and just say, you, done. All right, but now that they're done, like, what's the conversation and how are we rebuilding? What changes are happening within these industries to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again? Because when you turn the lights on the roaches, you know what I mean? Like, they scatter, but like, what happens when you have to turn the light off again? Like, how do we deal? So I just it's a general question that I have moving forward. Always, every time a new allegation comes up, I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, good, fuck that guy. But also, now that we've discovered this guy, what are we gonna do to make sure that there's no more of these guys? Because calling people out isn't enough.
I mean, it's a whole culture. You know, they've gotten away with it for however long the men have gotten away with what we've gotten away with. Forever. So the bottom line is, like, until we start having these conversations with our sons, with our, you know, neighbors, with everything, we start talking like, listen, like, this stuff is not okay. Like, yeah. And, you know, we're trying to move in the right direction. It's just gonna take time. Yeah, for sure. Rose McGowan, or whatever, however the hell you say her last name, from Charmed.
She's from Charmed.
She
was also in Jawbreaker. She was also in
Iconic
Scream.
Right. Okay.
Anyway,
she
fuck
was the
her.
one that died from the garage door. In Scream.
Memorable.
I've never been like a fan or non-fan of hers, but now I'm a non-fan. So now she's gonna get her own reality TV show on E! I believe, called Citizen Rose, where we're going to follow Rose, the activist, the white feminist, who's going to go around and like show us how she's saving, you know, women one day at a time or one whatever at a time. Let me tell you something. This bitch dead hijacked that whole Me Too movement. She has said things that are very questionable and problematic, and now she's getting a TV show out of it. It's just, it's sort of solidifying for me a fear that I've had from the beginning. I said, okay, now Trump is president. Now it'll be trendy to be anything anti-Trump. Anything anti-Trump will, you know, naturally have some sort of activism or some sort of whatever rebellion around it, because it's anti what the establishment is. And so anything that is pro women is seemingly you know, anti-establishment. And so here we have this fucking privileged ass woman, you know, making whatever little statements and whatever she wants, and now she's getting a TV show out of it, and we're gonna follow her and watch her do that. I don't give a fuck what she does day to day. Yeah, but the thing is the people in charge of these networks and these shows, like, they don't represent you. They don't, and they don't represent the movement in any way. Not necessarily, but they know that this person kind of, like, they don't do their homework. They know that this person vaguely matters, so they're like, oh, cool, let's give her a show. No. They would not give the creator of the Me Too hashtag a show. They just wouldn't. It doesn't matter how much research they did. She's a black woman who's not a fucking celebrity, you know what I mean? And has gone through, you know, very harsh moments in her life. And then it's just sort of like, yeah, that is the world and that's who that woman is. And we'll maybe interview her once. We're not giving her a reality TV show. You know how many activists and people exist in this world who have been fucking on the ground for years and years and years and get zero recognition? And this bitch wants to tweet here and there, and all of a sudden it's a reality TV show, and she's going to... The problem is that we have to accept that when people get larger platforms than others, they start to become the face of things. So now we have this woman. This one's going to be the face of a movement now. What a face that to me has no inclusion and understanding of my experience. It's why one thing to give it to just her. Like, how about make it multiple people? Lately, and now she gonna get a show. And how about having other women involved? How about, like, it's not just about her? Like, why don't you? She been also because that's my thing. Is that every time somebody's career is going in the dump, somebody gets a fucking show, and the fact that the show is tied around activism and shit that real people are going through day to day is some real bullshit. I'm speaking to the audience right now. I want y'all to know she ain't woke. She's making statements like, "I wish I had more middle fingers on Citizen Rose." Yeah. Calling out the females who are... So today's the Golden Globes. Right. Actresses are wearing black in silent protests. Yeah, there's a protest going on Instagram about stuff. Rose McGowan was like, actresses wearing black in a silent protest. Your silence is the problem. bitch.
Yeah, that's
you're
literally what
mad
she's been
because
like.
you're not on the red carpet. How about that?
Well, and the
You
thing
guys
is,
are not Golden Globe and how long?
the thing is now she just has to. She has to be loud.
And I wonder because so then we want to look at it this way because there's been rumors that they're gonna reboot Charmed. Is this?
And I wouldn't be surprised.
Hype up her
I didn't even know
career,
that.
you know?
But if some,
That is the thing.
I tell you,
They are rebooting Charmed, but it's gonna be like in the West or something. Like they're
I
doing
don't
like
give
a
a fuck
weird
what it is.
like.
I don't give a fuck what it is. You do not take
haven't
people's
actually
real
looked into it.
hurt and pain and experiences and make a
What are you
buck
talking
out
about?
of it.
That's exactly what all corporations and businesses do.
I'm saying that's not what she, as an individual who's trying to claim things, should do. Of course,
I
let me say
mean,
something.
I understand, but like,
She's
if you
honestly
were
so
offered a
out of
check
left
with
field.
that many O's, that many zeros on it,
But that's my point. Is that then that's not real. You understand? And so to pose it
Yeah.
as you're a real ally, you're not a real ally. Unless she takes that money and she starts doing some real shit with the money she's getting from the show, then she can shut me up. But she's still not an inclusive activist. She's still not an inclusive
of
feminist. And I need her to do that before even that money that she might do something with is of any value to me as a black woman. Because let me say something, a lot of change can happen for white women in America. I'm saying this to you, white women in America who do listen to this. A lot of shit can happen to you that's great and progressive. And that still might not mean shit for me as a woman of color. And you got to get with that. And if you care about women overall, if you're willing to, in the Middle East, women who are Muslim go through, if you're willing and ready to jump on them, then also take a moment to look at the women who sit beside you day by day when you're riding subways or commuting or, at work and in other spaces where you're with women of color. Understand that the gravity of what we go through is just as bad as the gravity of what they go through. And I'm not downplaying, women getting stoned and things like that, but I'm saying that it is an issue that goes beyond the scope of what you assume is the issue in your country. So fuck you if you can't have part of that if that can't be part of your conversation. I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in the show. I will watch one episode just so I can confirm what I might believe to be true about how it's going to go down.
So Rose, the challenge is to you. You want to be the key white woman in
You
charge,
and all your white women.
You want to be the key voice? Go ahead and open your mouth.
Yeah, do something. Stop tweeting. No, for real. Like, you want to do something, stop tweeting. That's just as bad as wearing a black dress if you think wearing a black dress.
well, it's like rappers and
dress
Twitter
is right.
feeds. It's like I don't care.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like
Shut the
just
fuck up.
do something.
Yeah.
Don't stop talking. Just do something.
And leading into the next thing, which is why I get so mad and passionate about, white feminists.
This is crazy. I haven't heard about this.
So I just heard the story got released on, I think today or yesterday, where Carice Lewis, a lesbian woman in Washington, D.C., was shot and burned alive. So the way it went down is, neighbors had heard a couple shots, and then, sometime later there was a big fire and a car was set on fire. So Carice was shot, and then apparently had not died from the bullet wounds, and then was put in the trunk of a car and burned alive. There are not many details out right now from what I've read, but what is very clear is that the story, it happened on December 28th, and the story hasn't really gotten much coverage whatsoever.
I was like, how have I just heard about this now?
Yeah, I mean, the article I read was dated 1/6. Like, it was dated for yesterday. It has not gotten much coverage, but this is a woman's issue. You know what I mean? Like, and we are all allies, and LGBTQIA+ is still part of our community. And, it is true. And I'd be lying if I said that, women within these communities, whether it's, a trans woman or, a woman transitioning into a male or a lesbian, like the visibility and the way the conversation happens around them tends to be different than the way it happens around gay men or, men transitioning into women, and things like that.
And people tend to kind of hesitate on whether they're going to speak out on it or not, depending on whether it's a trans person or not. Which is just fucked, right? So you have it, and she's black, which does not add, And she's not, this person in particular is not trans, but it is AG, aggressive, masculine,
right? And so the article says, friends and family.
Do we have?
Everything is being developed. So right now it's still fresh. We don't, or at least the article I read had not reported or had gotten information on who it could have possibly been to have done this to her. We don't know if it's necessarily a hate crime, but even if it's not a hate crime, someone of that community got attacked in a way that in the nation's capital.
I mean, if this was
and it's an execution. Like,
no, straight up, and like
literally-
a cruel, cruel.
it's a cruel-
Like that's not like it's one thing to shoot somebody dead. Like already you tried that and then that didn't work, so you burned them alive. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And the fact that, it's the 21st century and we have that going on at all, anywhere.
DC.
And in DC, the capital. The nation's capital. This stuff is going down right now. Unlike what was if hopefully this story gets coverage, hopefully it starts to blow up, hopefully, it gets trends and we get to talk about it. But like, what are our politicians going to say? What are they going to do?
Right.
Because I would love to talk about this story with the giant Cheeto we have sitting in that chair, because I would love to hear what he has to say.
Right.
Because what are you going to tell me, that the woman who got shot and burned alive, that there were good people on the other side of that too?
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, that's a bit of a stretch. Like,
right.
We need to have a conversation.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's just tragic, and the story's developing, but right now it's really fucking tragic to hear that something like that's going on.
And also, how did you manage? Like, was it in the day, like, or at night? Like, how did they manage to
there's
straight
a
up
photo
burn
of the
someone
car
alive?
on fire, and it was at night.
Okay.
The
I
photo
was
of the
gonna
car
say,
on
like,
fire
in a
is at
community,
night.
like, how does that?
Yeah,
That's
it was in the evening. All right. So next topic, the sanctity of marriage.
Woo!
Right. And Danny, you are currently engaged.
Taking the plunge.
Which means you're going to move into the phase of marriage soon. But
118 days and counting.
Right. Oh.
We have shut up. Hold on.
Wow.
Well, no, because on the website there's a countdown, and the other day we were on the website and it said 120, so I did quick maths and I figured out that
it's all right. Let me tell you, no shame in you tracking your wedding day. It's your day too. It's a very big day. But I have, for some reason, this whole week the idea of marriage has been coming up a lot in conversation.
Is that right?
It has. No, it has. Not for me. I'm not engaged, nor am I anywhere near having a wedding. But I've been talking to people, and someone who Skittles and I are close with also had issues in their marriage, and then I was talking to people who are engaged, and I had a whole conversation just yesterday about what's the point of marriage? Like, is it a natural human thing, or is it something that society has built that now we feel sort of obligated to? And because it's such a big thing in society and all cultures, if we don't indulge it, like, what does that make us look like? And is that why people are getting married? So on and so forth. And so, I'm a single ass motherfucker. Skittles is single, but you, Danny, you're engaged.
Yeah.
And you're our age, and you're literally about to do it, which to me is so fucking mind blowing. But should it even be that mind blowing? So I mean, like, what does marriage mean to you? Like, why, aside from the fact that you fucking love your fiance and she's awesome, right? Why marriage? Why not just stay with her and just be chilling?
I mean, well, I guess the basic answer is there are like legal rights to marriage. Like there are legal things where, like they only allow your spouse or whatever. And like, so there's that. It's basic, whatever. Not that that's really what I care about. But that is a thing. That is an argument.
Right, like if he was in a hospital bed, if she was just your girl and she wasn't your
exactly,
wife.
like if she's just your, girlfriend, it doesn't count or whatever. So like there's that argument towards it. I mean, for me, like it's bigger than, because for me, like I was raised with, that kind of family structure where it was like, you get married, you have kids. And I mean, what I feel like nowadays, especially in our times now in our modern era, like it's not for everybody. I think the problem is that, like society has built it into this thing where like everybody still needs to do it. And I feel like we have lightened up on that. Like it's not as bad as it used to be. Like back in the day, like if you were a woman and you weren't married, you were like,
yeah.
Tell my mother that.
How dare you? Shout out to your mom.
Shout out, mommy.
Love you, Miss Contreras. It's been a minute. I'll see you one of these days. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think it's as important in society. I also feel like the value of it has gone down. It's cheapened because, Americans kind of take it for granted. Like we have The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and we have all these stupid shows, and we have all this stuff where, marriage isn't really taken with any high regard. Because, you have older generations like, oh, your generation doesn't respect marriage. And I'm like, well, the way it's presented to us isn't necessarily like how it used to be.
Right.
And honestly, like, back in the day, it was a facade. Like there was a lot of marriages back in the day that were not happy, not healthy, whatever, but they just did it because that was, you know, their time. That was what society expected of them.
Right.
So my thing is I, you know, for me, the reason why I wanted to do it and why I proposed and all that was just because, you know, it was about partnership, really. Like it was bigger than like, you know, I love this person and like we really, you know, it was about like who do I want to have by my side through everything, with my financial situation, with a family, with children, with loving me, with supporting me, all that stuff. Who would I want to have by my side every day, and making that conscious choice? Because it ain't easy. You know, if you've been in a relationship a long time, every morning you wake up, you have to make that decision to commit to this relationship, to commit to this person, because it's real easy to slip.
Yeah.
So for me, like, it was a matter of like who, you know, I could think of no better partner for the rest of my life, someone who, you know, would have my back and I could have her back, and that's why I wanted to do it. It wasn't about like, you know, like we're in love, all that stuff is peachy like that, but it was bigger than that. It was that, you know, like for the rest of our lives, I feel like we have each other's backs, and like that's why I was kind of like, all right, that's why I'll do it. But it's not for everybody, and that's fine. Like it is. I think we need to chill out on the like, oh, everyone needs, like it's not that deep. Like it doesn't have to be.
But you want that for yourself.
And like that's I want that for myself. I want to be married. I want to have kids and all that. Divorce terrifies me. I don't want that at all. But you know, like I'm the type of person where it's like if I believe that this is what I should do, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna not do it out of fear.
Right.
That's not my.
That's whack.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so funny. Do you think? I mean, you're saying it's not for everyone. I agree. It's not necessarily for everyone. But do you think marriage is natural? Do you think the idea that people, you know, are committed to one person is a natural thing?
No, because scientifically, like, animals don't do it. There's very few animals that stay, like, in pairings. So I feel like scientifically, like, not really. I don't think it's necessarily human nature. But, I mean, that doesn't mean that it's not valuable or worth something. It just matters on the person. But, like, yeah, there's plenty of people who, like, I have plenty of friends, like, I could never do it. And I'm like, yeah, man, good for you. Like, that's fine. But my thing is, you know, it doesn't really, just don't judge either way. Just let people do their thing.
Absolutely. Skittles, what do you think about marriage?
Well, because as a gay man, because this is an interesting, it is different. And because even because I remember when gays got the right to marry, I was walking around asking everybody, like, oh, so do you want to get, and it was funny to me how many people were like, no, it's not for me, or I don't really care. It's not. So it is an interesting, it's not as black and white, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I don't know if it's that I've been single for so long or whatever, but it's like one of those situations where it's not at the forefront. It's not something that I've like dreamt about. It's not something that I have said by, you know, there's certain people that we all know who have been like, by this time I want to be married, and this time I want to do this, and this time I want to do that. Like, it's never been something that's that specific for me. I think when it came time to have like equal rights and like actually have the right to get married was when I was kind of like, yeah, fuck that. I want to at least have the choice to get married.
Yeah, right. Not you know,
because I just think that the idea of like gay couples and the LGBTQIA plus community not having that right, I just think that's stupid. Yeah. You know? But for me personally, it's never been something that's been at the forefront where I'm like, I'm going to get married and I'm going to have this many kids and I'm going to have this type of wedding or whatever. So I just like, you know, when it comes time to people around me getting married, I'm all about it. Yeah, congratulations. I will be there with bells on. But for me, it's not something that I've been like, I'm going to get married.
See, and then like for me, it's the whole conversation around it has changed over time because the evolution of women over time, or what the vision of myself as a woman has changed. I come from a very traditional Dominican household where like marriage is part of the conversation of like what would happen to me in the long run when I find love, you know what I mean? And so I've let go of a lot of that. Like I feel like even through high school, like I let go of a lot of that. But you know, the United States is very good, and society is very good at putting that pressure on you. And so, you know, especially as a woman, and it's just like, you feel like, I mean, back in the day, people who would get married, sometimes it'd be like a trade. You know what I mean? Like the woman didn't even have a choice in who she was marrying. It was like, my dad is giving me off for 5 cows or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And so, though that's no longer the case, feeling like a less valuable good, feeling like I might not be worth 5 cows, I might only be worth 3 cows at this point in my life, that feeling doesn't go away. So for me, even though I'm sort of like, yeah, like I would like to get married, I wouldn't. And I had Barbie dolls, and I created fantasies and stuff in world for in my imagination that involved marriage. But now I'm sort of like stuck in between, where it's like, do I want to be progressive enough to say that I would stay in a relationship with a man and be totally fine with the fact that he would never ask me to marry him? Or do I feel comfortable owning up to maybe I'm an old school bitch, and maybe I would feel uncomfortable to know that for whatever crazy reason, if marriage is no big deal and we don't have to do it because it's not that serious, then why is it so serious to do it? Like sometimes I'm stuck in that place.
That kind of conversation is so weird because you won't know until you're in the situation.
Right.
Because I've seen it go both ways. Like I've seen some people who've been in a relationship for a long time and like they kind of disagreed on what they wanted to do.
Right.
And like say it as you might. Like you could say like if you really believe in marriage and you're with someone, you're like, oh, I'm okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Eventually that's gonna eat you up inside, or eventually it's gonna lead like. It's very personal, and the thing is you have to know who you're with. Like you have to understand the situation, and if it's something you're willing to sacrifice. But it is a tricky. People are like, oh, I'd be fine. It's like you have to be honest with yourself first before you can like. And it's hard. Like you don't know until you're in that situation.
And for me, I'm also like, I think this. If we're gonna question marriage, we should question graduations. We should question, baby showers and other ceremonies. Because to me, a wedding is a ceremony. It is very much just a moment in which, depending on how you choose, let's say you're doing a traditional wedding, like it's a moment where you, the person who you love, and the community who supports you and is a part of you are having a moment of acknowledgement that you guys are committing to each other until, quote unquote, death do us part. And that's why people are invited to it, and you don't just go to, you know what I mean? Like, even if that's why you need a witness, even if it's just City Hall, you need a witness, right? And it's a witness to a commitment. It is a bond. It's almost like a blood oath, let's say. You know what I mean? So that, to me, is the whole thing about marriage. Everything else that happens in the ceremony is at the discretion of the people and how they want to do it. And that's what makes the party. But the wedding is not the party. The wedding is that moment where, whether it's a priest or the city of blah, blah, blah's person, whoever is marrying you, to make it an official thing in which there is a paper that comes with it and you get it done. Some people go to college and graduate. Some people don't go to college and graduate. You know what I mean? Like some people have baby showers and have babies at all. Some people don't have baby showers or have babies at all. But to me, it's just that. But the beauty that love itself has a ceremony to honor when two people decide that they want to have that partnership is such a beautiful thing. And so what if I wanted to do that? So what if I want to do that and I want to have a pop-in reception? I would want to have a pop-in reception because when Julissa throws parties, she wants to have a pop-in party no matter what the theme is. No, you know what I mean? Like that's just who I am as a person. And so if I were to have a big reception, it's not because, it has to be big because it's a wedding. It's because it's Julissa. And I am big on love. I'm a hopeless romantic. And I want to have a big celebration. I want the community of people who are there and present to indulge in the love and the energy. But that's a me thing. And I shouldn't feel guilty about wanting those things.
Well, no, and I feel the same way. That's why I had everybody, including the two of you, involved in the engagement. Because for us, a big part of our relationship and who we are is our family, our support system. It's all the people around us. I mean, spoiler alert, these two are the reason why we met, my fiance and I. I'm not telling the story. They're mad hype. They're mad hype for no. I'm not even going into the story. But besides the fact, if it wasn't for the two that I'm sitting across, I would have never met my fiance. Well, I mean, who knows? Never is a strong whatever. But
never. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. There's no reason you would ever have been in a room with her if it wasn't for me dragging your ass out and Juan's dragging her ass out. Period. Anyway,
America,
proceed.
I'll let you decide. And I mean, like the two people in New York who are like, yes. What is this? Anyway, subscribe, please. Anyway, so. But yeah, like a big part of is our support. So that's why like we wanted to have our friends around for this, because again, like. Like when I sent my invitations to my groomsmen, I was like, I want you on my side because I want, like, this is, for me, it's a gesture of like, I want you in my family. I want you in my life.
Right.
Like I'm making this union and I consider you to be a part of the union because you're with me at my side during this crucial moment in my life. So that was kind of like, to me, it's a unity, and it's a thing where I want to celebrate with all the people who are important to me. Like this is an important union, and I want it to be a fun, like, good time. Like, why
Absolutely.
And it is gonna be such a lit.
It's gonna be
wedding.
ridiculous.
It's gonna be a great wedding.
Because it's first off, at least on like Sammy's side or whatever, like it's the first time that the group of people that y'all are getting together have been in the same place for the same reason in a very long time. So the turn up is gonna be like,
it's gonna be ridiculous. Wait for that vlog.
Yeah,
It's gonna be nuts.
that's gonna be great. And for me, like, because I'm one of the groomsmen, shout out to me.
And I'm one of the bridesmaids.
Fuck out of here. We're in 20.
Fuck your gender norms, bitch.
2018
Yes, fuck
wedding.
gender norms.
Fuck your gender norms.
I want my fucking flowers.
Oh, you're not getting those ain't in the budget. You ain't getting them.
No.
I literally, for me though, like the reason why I think it's so beautiful that I got to be on that side is because of my just sort of natural belief of the idea of community and the importance of community. I could have easily been on Tammy's side. Like that could have, yeah, sure. I feel like she would have welcomed me and accepted me to that. And that's great. But I do think that part of it is, when you get married, it's the commitment and it's the creation of like that other part of your life that has its own like tower, it's its own department. Let's say if this was a business, the marriage department is its own department, but you are still a full functioning human with a life that has things outside of that department, right? And so marriage to me is just it's like the holiday party, right? So you're bringing everyone together and you're saying like, this is the new department in our life, we'll do the fiscal for it, this is important when we have kids, you'll be a part of it, like this is now part of the bigger company that is me as an individual in my life. And so people come on accordingly. So to me, it feels really special to be on Danny's side because that's just the truth of how I participate in this department.
Top five.
Right? So like it's to me, it's like I truly am entering that and in accepting. It's like for us as the groomsmen, like we are also saying yes to Sammy, and for Sammy and her bridesmaids, they are saying yes to Danny, and so it's almost like a deal. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna, and it's part of the thing, and it's a deal to protect the love and the sanctity of what they have, as well as protecting the individual, which is why we stand on the sides that we stand on. You know what I mean? Like I will always protect that marriage, but second to that marriage, I'm always protecting Danny first. But same for Skittles. Skittles will always protect the marriage, but if Danny does some dumb shit, which he won't, the first thing that Skittles is protecting is Sammy.
There's that awkward pressure shit that comes with it.
It is.
Well,
They're jumping ahead.
So then let's dive into that.
They're jumping ahead.
Something that we wanted to kind of talk about, not necessarily in terms of.
And I want you to know this is not about you.
No.
This is not about you.
It just so happens.
I come to this show, I'm getting attacked.
It just so
my
happens
character,
to be,
my values. No, I'm kidding.
It just so happens to be the fact that you are the person at the table getting married, but. In that sense, you like you were saying, we're promising to like protect the marriage and protect this. So then, what happens when someone does do something stupid?
Right.
But see, that depends on the couple. Like, you know what I mean? Like the reality is for some people, like that's an instant no, and that's whatever. And you had to decide like if divorce is the thing. I think one of the problems with marriage, and like this is tricky. I don't want to say something that's kind of. Because I think too many people are afraid of divorce. Like I feel like you made a commitment and you have to do everything you can. Like I feel like I don't want because some people just quit and like that's not fair.
Right.
But I feel like also some people are really terrified of divorce and what that means, and they're afraid of being that person. But I feel like you have to also accept when things change or things are different, or if something terrible happens, you have to understand if it's went its course.
Right.
But I feel like there has to be a fight no matter what, because I mean, like, you promised for better or worse. Like I feel like
so you can't just be like, oh, I found that bitch on your phone, it's over.
Or like something really or like people grow, like you never know what happens. Like life is crazy. You never know what can happen. I feel like some people get trapped in a marriage when they feel like society will not accept them if they get out.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that is also a problem. Like the thing is I don't want to undervalue. I don't want to say like, oh, marriage is just like another relationship, whatever, because it's not. It is a commitment. But at the same time, I feel like some people get stuck and they're like, oh, well, I have to just stick around because like it is what it is. And I feel like that's not really fair either. I feel like you have to kind of, I don't know. It's really tricky. This isn't simple.
It's not simple, but I think that is the ceremony of it. Going to college for 4 years or longer, or whatever, 2 years, whatever, is a commitment, right? That you're making, and either you're going to make it through or you're not. I also think that the same way I'm saying, like, there's the marriage that you're protecting, then the people. it's just another department as who you are as a person. So what you're saying is you're committing to including this in your life, but you still have your own life. But it's understanding that now the life choices you make also affect that department, and thus what are your decisions. So if you're having a moment in your life where you're feeling, I don't know, stale or dry, or maybe something in the marriage isn't really going great and you need something fulfilled, people are people. You have the choice to go off and get yourself a little taste of something else. You have that choice. But what are the consequences of those choices? And that is where the marriage comes into play. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because are you going to say, I'm going to just go ahead and do what I do and keep it a secret, or I'm going to do what I do and eventually I'll tell, my wife or my husband and they'll feel how they feel? Or are you going to not do the thing first and then go back to the place in which you feel you should be getting those needs and going back to fix it? I think like that's the maturity and the challenge of a marriage.
Well, and that's the thing, like it's a commitment to, like, relationships are not easy. The longer they last, like, because it's all fun and games when it first happens, but the longer somebody sticks around, it gets harder and harder. And not, not that it gets unbearable, but of course you have your good times, but there's plenty of moments, there's plenty of things that will bother you, there's plenty of struggles, there's plenty of things, everyone has their ups and downs, but part of the commitment of marriage is committing to the hard ass work.
Right.
Which I feel like that's kind of a difference between a marriage and a normal relationship. Because a normal relationship, like, even if you've been together for years, if you all of a sudden change or you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, you kind of can back out and be like, listen, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm out. Whereas a marriage is like, you kind of committed to keep making this work. And if all of a sudden you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm over it, like, that's a bit shadier.
Yeah,
it's like, if you're committing to this work. Yeah. But I mean, like, human beings are complicated. Relationships are complicated. It's hard to make rules. It's hard to, and that's why, like, I feel like, I think the hardest thing we need to do as a society, I think the reality is we just need to be open to whatever. I feel like we can't, there's so much pressure to be married. There's so much pressure to stay in a marriage. There's this, there can be, problems with people who are divorced. And it's just like, you know what? Like, how about we just let people be? I know it's easy to say, but like, it's kind of a tricky situation where it's like, we just don't need to judge. Like, let people live their life. Like,
and it's a hard place. It's a hard place in this day and age to be, where now that we are more open to things that are alternatives to marriage, which is awesome, super awesome. It's hard, and I'll speak for myself, to be a person who sort of dances the line between, conventional, like, in wanting to get married, or saying, like, yes, I will be with a person even though they never proposed to me. It's hard to dance that line, and feel like if the person I love doesn't agree with me, then is that love real? Is it deep enough? Is it, like, worth saving? Or should I find someone who believes in what I believe in? Because I look at, some people say, well, what if you never get married and you're with the person for 10, 15 years? There are people who have those types of relationships, 10, 15 years together,
have children, do all
sorts
stuff.
of shit, and never get married. And that's okay. But I feel like I wonder the real reason behind the non-marriage. And is it a fear?
Well, so I know someone who doesn't really believe in, and his argument was that, like, he feels like that it comes with pressure, or it comes with, like, subconsciously it'll ruin what you have. That once you put a ring on it, once you do the whole ceremony and all that stuff, that it will taint what you have, because all of the notions and all of the things and and I mean, that's his outlook on it. And I don't know, like, I can see where that comes from, but I'm not really sure if...
Listen, if you're a real ass motherfucker, you getting married does not mean that now all of a sudden, like, you're expecting your person to change. To marry someone expecting it to be a change for them and not hold them to the standards of whatever you want those changes to be, even before you get married, to me is problematic. Like, I'm going to marry you, but I'm not going to marry you in hopes that you'll change. I'm marrying you because I know that you're committed to that change and you want to do that change. I'm not going to guilt you into proposing to me and then have this whole wedding, and throughout the whole time you're going to have whatever feelings you have, and then you're going to cheat on me later, and I have to sit with that shit.
Yeah, but stuff, I mean, shit, like, that's the thing. This is the conversation that should be happening, but some, like, for some people, they're just like, I just want to get married, I don't care.
Yeah.
Or, and like, it's a tricky situation, and, like, everything will work out, hopefully, but, you just never, like, life is crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard to, the problem I think with marriage is that it seems like such a rigid thing, and the reality is, as, modern times, more things are fluid than ever. You know what I mean? Like, everything is fast, everything is quick moving, everything is, so it does feel a little bit outdated in a way of how we treat it.
But can't we reclaim it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Reclaim it and make it something else for ourselves. That for me, if I'm getting married, it's not about being able to sit in the hospital. It's not about whatever tax benefits come about. It's not about my mom finally getting off my fucking back. It's about...
But wouldn't that be nice?
But it would be so nice. The big smile on Skittles face. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Danny, where can we find you? Tell us your ballet company name. If we don't want us to follow you on the internet, that's fine. But where can we find you?
You can follow me, but like Lord knows I'm boring. I don't have. I'm not real good at like my brand. I don't really pop stuff on the IG or anything like that. I'm with the Dayton Ballet in Ohio. So if you're ever in the city of Dayton, all you subscribers out there who feel like traveling, you can come to a show. And you know what? Beyond that, like, screw trying to come see me. Support my art, because dance has always had a weird history in America, and a lot of people like to say that it's dying. It's a dying art form, and I can see it. It's hard. It's hard to get into. It's an elitist art form, but I challenge you guys that are listening to go see a performance, go watch some art, go check something out. There's a lot, especially if you're in New York City or you're in the 5 boroughs, or even like there's dance all over this country, all over the world.
There's dance on the motherfucking 2 train, 6 train.
There's stuff everywhere. So definitely, if you're curious, like, go to a show, support these artists, go watch some stuff. There's a lot of stuff. There's stuff for everybody, and there's beautiful art that's happening all around you. Just support the dance community, look into it, and you who knows, you might love ballet, you might love contemporary, you might love African dance, you might love whatever, but it's a crime that you don't ever give it a shot. So I feel like give it a shot, go to a show, support somebody, and see if you're into it. You might love it, and then you become a dance fan for the rest of your life.
Amen. All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time, and in the meantime, bronche.